anyway, I guess we'll just be very relaxed, and if you say something and you want to say it over, that's no problem, because we can erase the tape.
Edit it, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the beauty of the editing.
Yeah.
And I guess the first question, and a lot of this I don't even know, so it'll be educational for me. But when did you all come to Wentworth?
We came here in May of 1958.
Okay, I'm gonna have to switch back over. Okay.
We came here in May of 1958.
And what brought you here?
Bill Coulter was a friend of ours from here. We're from the same hometown, and when he told us there was a coaching vacancy here, why, Paul applied, and we've been here ever since.
Okay. And what coaching was it? Football?
Everything.
Everything.
But the first year, what did you?
The first year was football and basketball.
Yeah, you assisted Bill in high school football,
Yeah.
and you coached junior college basketball. Yeah. And did you do track or tennis?
No, that
Neither
first
one,
year.
not that first
yeah.
year. Which one?
First one.
Track.
Run.
Yeah, yeah, you helped with track.
The first, that was because the first year, they decided that I was going to take the kids to
Football. The
no,
next year.
Yeah. But, and Hal had to,
Tennis.
yeah.
Okay. And then were any of the kids born at that time? I mean, or
We, Ted and Mark and Paula and Tom. Tom was just a year and a half old when we moved here. But Pam and Marty were born here.
okay. And as I remember, just from my own experience, in 1963 when I started, you were the 8th grade teacher. When did you start teaching, and did you like teaching?
Oh yeah. Where we had been before.
You just had PE there. But here, you taught all the classes of the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah. You had me as one of your students.
And that's right.
Yeah.
And what was Big Bertha? What was that?
Tell him.
I
think it was a paddle, a big one.
Yeah. Yeah. I had the best of kids then. Really. I had, boy, we didn't have any trouble at all, do we?
No.
We just best, the kids were great.
Did Big Bertha ever get a workout?
Oh, yeah, but hell, I was going to hit one, and he said, that wouldn't bother me. And I smacked him a little one, and he said, that hurts. But I can't remember who was it.
Was it that big boy, John Pitcher? John Pitcher?
I can't remember.
Oh, well, it
And
doesn't.
that,
Do you remember a kid named Castro from Venezuela? You used to spank him every day.
oh
And he'd do a
yeah,
little dance.
oh yes. But you know the number one, the man running this school then.
Colonel Wyckoff?
Yeah. And we do ever in the world.
He did everything in the world for him, even let him come back the next year, even though he messed up all the time.
Yeah. I said, don't bring him back. God. He was, oh God, he was terrible.
And I I noticed on your sweater you've got bear written there. What's the significance of the bear?
Well,
They called you you had a nickname over there.
Yogi.
yeah.
Yeah. What was that all about? Do you remember?
Oh,
Oh, I don't really know how that got started. Do you? But I guess they just thought you looked like a big lovable bear. I don't know.
I think that's,
Well, it stuck, and it's very appropriate. It was a great name. I know everybody knows you by Yogi Bear. It
yeah.
was certainly a term of endearment. Then
I tell you, those were great years. I'll never forget them. It really was. And those kids, they were good kids. They really were. You know. They at Christmas they made something for me, and but it was, it was great.
yeah.
You don't care what it was. Well, I had the best kids.
Well, you had not only the cadets, but you had a wonderful family, and I know Ted and Mark. And did Tom go to Wentworth at all?
Just 1 year.
1 year. Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ted.
He didn't make it all the way.
No, yes, he did. Yes, he went the whole year, but he didn't come back. But Ted didn't go here in the 8th grade because Paul taught 8th grade.
Right.
But he went all through high school and junior college, and Mark did too.
Tell me what it was like living across from campus.
Oh, I felt like I was on display all the time. I wanted my kids to behave and not any, cause any trouble. And not only right across from the campus, but we were right across the street from Colonel and Mrs. Wyckoff, who I felt like was, I wanted everything to be perfect in front of them. And so it was kind of pressure, but we really enjoyed the years we were there. The Coulters lived downstairs, and Captain Bell lived in the apartment in back of that. There was 3 of us in that big house that's torn down now.
Yeah.
John Grondike.
Oh, yeah, I was there had him. First year we were here, his dad brought him in there and he wanted here, school here. And we pretty good came with the boy and his dad and even his mom. We were pretty close with them. They were nice people. Yeah.
He still comes to visit you, doesn't he, occasionally?
Oh, yeah. John he was a damn awful nice boy. He really is.
I'll just add that we couldn't think any more of John if he was our own son. Of course, he was here a number of years, but Paul also traveled Oklahoma and had a chance to to know his dad and mom really well. And they had a lodge out north of Enid, and 1 year we spent 3 weeks there, and Paul worked on the ranch there in the summertime, and the kids loved it, and they were so good to us. Yes, John still comes to see us whenever he's in town, and we always look forward to his visits. His mother's still alive, but up in years and not well, but his dad's been gone a number of years, but we always remember Mr. Grondike. He was such a great guy. So down to earth, and
It was great.
How about Ray Winky? Do you remember Ray Winky?
yeah, remember Paul? He was one year when John was brigade commander, he was like his assistant, a big guy, really big.
Yes.
But he has come here lots of times at homecoming. We've got a lot of pictures of him. He was a nice guy. Haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah, I haven't either. I think he's from Iowa,
Yes,
as I recall.
yes,
How about Don Majors?
Oh yeah.
Tall Don, slow walking.
From
Slow
Oklahoma
talking.
City, Paul. He's one of your favorites.
And then,
Don Majors, and we used to buy cars from him.
oh yeah.
And he had a nice wife, Tina, and his son became an attorney too. That's another one that Paul got to know real well because they lived in Oklahoma City, and they would always have Paul come to the house when he was there. Don and
Oh yeah.
Tina.
Well, you get to know all these kids that I went on the road, you know.
Yeah, in the summertime, Don lived in Oklahoma City, but Mr. Grondike had a big ranch 60 miles west of Oklahoma City. So Paul would be recruiting during the week, and then on the weekend, you and Don, that was before he was married,
Yeah.
you guys would go over and visit Mr. Grondike down there on the ranch,
Yeah.
go fishing.
Yeah, in fact, I would be me fish. He said, I want you to, so I'd get all of, we had a place that, boy, that you could go in. And boy, he loved it though. He liked the fish, boy.
Yeah, he used to call me on the weekends and say, "Oh, I have that Indian guide down here catching fish for me this weekend."
Yeah.
That would be Tom Phipps.
Yes. Paul, do you remember when we were in Sacramento visiting my sister, and we went to, he owns a nice ice cream parlor, and we went to see Tom, and do you remember that?
Where?
In Sacramento.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but boy, I tell you, I'm terrible.
On names, yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, he was another really nice boy.
Yeah.
Has a nice family, and he is quite a successful businessman, and he does a lot of scholarship funding for kids that like work in his ice cream parlor, and then helps them go on to school. And he's really community minded. We enjoyed our visit with him.
Stood out that you remember?
Joe Pickard, Paul, one of your Arkansas boys from Harrison, Arkansas,
Yeah.
and he made a career in the Air Force, and in fact he was one of the big officers in SAC, and was stationed. He had a nice family, and 4 children, and they lived in Iceland. He was stationed in Iceland for a while, and now he's retired from the Air Force and is a pilot for American Airlines.
Yeah, he planes.
Flies airplanes.
Oh, he was great. In
Yeah.
fact, he used to come back and talk to me all the time.
When we had our 50th wedding anniversary, American Airlines was on strike at that time, and he came and to our anniversary party, and it was so good to see him. We hear from him every Christmas, but he really has done well. And he's,
I tell you, she does well on names and everything. Boy, I'm terrible. We we get to that names was we had those.
for a number of years, they had that tennis tournament here in the summertime. It was Missouri Valley Senior Men's Tournament. It was 6 or 8 states in the Midwest area, and it was for men 45 and older and 55 and
Yeah.
older. And they came and stayed in A Company, brought their families, lived in the barracks for a while they were here.
You know, you could imagine how they did and boy, they didn't hurt anything.
I don't know, but
They're really good, the people.
it was like a reunion for them.
Oh, yeah.
But when I said Paul can remember names, they brought families, their children, and he would get acquainted with those people. Well, a lot of them were people that had come back year after year, but then even new people, because the very first night they would have a banquet out at the country club for everybody, and Paul would stand up and introduce every one of those people there just from memory.
I could remember all them then. Now I can't.
Don't feel like the Lone Ranger. I can't remember names either.
Boy,
Well, what, you all were a big part of the school, and I've never heard anyone over the years ever have a derogatory comment about the Butheruses, and that must make you feel pretty good. I mean, you know people love you and respect you, and both of you. I mean, it's.
now, we get people still come every year,
That's such a thrill. When Paul had his stroke in 1983, we lived in an old antebellum home in the country at that time, at 3 miles out of town, and then we moved into Lexington, into this smaller house, but we wanted it to be close to the campus, because it's still a thrill for us to hear the cadence and the band and the activity at the
Oh, yeah.
football games, and it's just like it's in our backyard, and it's wonderful.
This has been a nice, and it's going still. That's
What,
the
school?
School.
Yeah.
they're. Listen, we had some nice kids. Really.
What
I
about-
had one kid, a big kid, and and I told him, I said, I'm not going to fool with you, because I let over.
Let Perry do that.
And he said, so he saw him, and he said, do you want to take him out? I said, hell no, I'm going to teach him something. And I liked the kid, but he just hard hit.
Another good thing about us living here is we're just 2 houses from Colonel Perry, and they visit a lot. Perry will come down here and visit Paul lots of times, and Perry has a good memory. He's
great. He could remember anything.
He does.
What about Colonel Wyckoff? What were your impressions of Colonel Wyckoff?
Well, I hit it on him real good. In fact, I went into his place, and she was the lady died here,
Mickey Lomax.
and so I thought of a lot about her, and I liked him. In fact, he would tell me, he said, I got to go to Kansas City. He said, I want you to drive. Do it. And every time he wanted to go somewhere, he wanted me to do it. And I liked him. He was very good.
Yeah. How about Colonel Sellers?
Oh, hell, we were we were very good. Because where I, out there, why, he lived, I mean, his was right there, and I
Oh, your office?
yeah, I
Yeah.
was there for a
When,
while, and then they
when-
put me over in another one.
For a while, Paul was in the administration building when he ran the trumpeter and everything, and Colonel Sellers' office was real close to Paul, and they got to know each other real well.
Well, what was that like running the trumpeter?
Oh, boy.
You know, really, I thought it would be, I stayed worried about it. And you know, it really came out good, didn't it, Marge?
You had to have it out every 2 weeks. Well, you know that. Mark knows that.
Yeah, but I've got it like every 2 months, and it's a little bitty, so
No.
nothing
You
like
know
you
what? I really, but I had probably 6 kids that really get good stuff and
Oh, yeah.
tell you about it, you know.
Tom Carrender.
did. Oh,
You
Oh,
remember
yeah,
Tom?
a lot of, I can't every time not having a lot of to talk about it, you know. They were good.
John Patinas.
And I, they were anything. I never put anything in the thing about. I wanted the kids to do it, you know. And we were, they get we was really come off real good.
I agree. I agree. The reason I don't talk when you guys are talking, because they can. I did this with my dad a couple years ago. You know, videotape.
Oh yeah.
And I asked him, and I'll ask you the same question. I'd like you both to answer it. But if you could talk to a cadet 20, 30, 50 years, haven't even been born yet, what would you say about Wentworth?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it was one of the greatest things that happened to me and our kids and my wife. Because we liked it here, didn't we? And you know, and we learned from the kids. You learned to, and well, it's not. All the kids liked me, and that part I liked it.
That's because you liked all the kids.
Well, sure.
Okay, Marge, what would you say to that?
Oh, it was the greatest thing that could have happened to us, and we loved the family atmosphere. We ate with the cadets as a family, and you would change every semester. Well, even more often than that, maybe quarter or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But then you got to know a lot of cadets. And Paul always had a training table because he was coaching something, and that way you got to know the boys on the teams. And it was just
I did
Great.
that and had we played college. I had the basketball.
Frank Tully. You know,
Yeah.
I was just put in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that was great. And boy, and we went to a lot of places to get the kids.
What sport did you enjoy coaching the most?
Football. But I liked the football and all running or kicking.
Tennis. You like tennis too.
Oh, I liked and God, I had some good kids that had played.
Wasn't Ted and Mark pretty good at tennis, as I recall, or Mark was? Or?
Yes, in fact, there's three of them played. Ted and Mark.
Mark and Tom the year he was
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, and in fact, they liked it.
Something. What about that Molyneux kid? Did he give you any trouble?
Shoot, you guys were the best kids God, you know, really, you know, what they marked.
Sure.
Oh, God, you guys,
Mark and Mike.
huh?
Mark and Mike both.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to say we're good because you're on film here.
Oh,
No, that is,
we would say that anyway.
No, no.
well, I'm trying to think.
We had some other good faculty kids when Paul taught We had some other good faculty kids when Paul taught 8th grade. He had Ronnie Euler, who was a very good student. John Oliva, who was a really good student. And, you know, of course you and I don't remember if there were others or not, but I know.
I'm sure there were. The Osborne, Riley Osborne.
Right,
I
he
don't
had
know.
Riley.
Yeah.
But John and Ronnie were just neck and neck. You know, they were kind of competitive, weren't they, Paul? If you had a valedictorian and a salutatorian, they would have been the two.
Yeah. Well, I had great time. I had to get. I like kids anyway. The guys and all that. And it was great.
What advice would you give to a teacher today on how to treat kids?
Well, if you try the good stuff in them, it'll come out. And then if you don't care about them, they don't care about you. And I was always with Grad at Whitworth there. I was always glad to hear any of the boys and play. And then we had 2 or 3 girls.
Or just
But they were people from here.
faculty children.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, all of that.
Well, yeah. No, really, my going through Wentworth was great to me. I mean, that probably, you know, the place where they used to, remember when they changed it, where they down let's see, I can't say, use it now, I can't think.
Are you you're not talking about the Wentworth Hospital? Or?
No, down,
Oh, down the hill where F Company?
no, right? Ain't that terrible?
What were you going to say about it?
Well, you remember the who had the drink water and everything?
Oh, the Giblins that had
Yeah.
had the snack bar?
Yeah. You know, and the one guy they with, they didn't ever really get crazy about the old man. But his brother, he was great. In fact,
Oh.
he's still there.
Well, he still is in town, yeah. Bill Giblin was more, you know, refined and didn't really get to know the cadets like George and Linda did.
That's right.
But they were nice people.
Oh, yeah. It was great. Well, you know, just like your dad, you know, we knew pretty well together, you know. He was.
Didn't you use?
Yeah, you visited in the summer camps or something?
Oh, yeah.
Fort Sill and Fort Riley.
And we see in fact, our boy was,
Well, Ted and Mark both
yeah.
were different camps. And Colonel Willoughby went with you too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what about Colonel Willoughby? Talk to me about him a little bit.
Weenie? Well, Colonel Willoughby is from our hometown.
Oh,
Yeah. He and his wife are from Maryville. And Paul, remember he ran the quartermaster store for years.
Oh, yeah, he ran it then. And, boy, it always run good and all, because he done well, you know.
He would always give his pep talk at
Oh, yeah.
the ham fat cheer and before
Yeah,
before a Kemper game. That's when he would talk.
Yeah, that, oh, I don't ever remember. When we came here, and I was coaching that year, first time, and we just beat the hell out of them, with ever played. And I take Bill and and they beat us the first year I was here.
And after that,
Never after that. They killed my, and their coaches, you know, hell, they're good, nice people and everything, but you know, I just kind of like, you know, we just got them, that's all. We just couldn't beat them, that's all.
you just wanted to beat them so bad.
Oh, yeah.
and you did beat them.
Oh, I don't remember after that,
first year.
they ever, football, I played basketball, so I helped it with the football, but
That first year.
yeah. great bunch of guys.
Tell me why a cadet or a young man or young woman today would want to go to Wentworth.
Well, you know, they're gonna learn something, and there are a lot of these places now. The kids don't learn anything. They're just, ugh. And really, that's bad, I think.
Well, they learn study habits. That's the main thing, is getting organized. And
Oh, there's phone.
That's no wrong with that.
Shoot. So we were talking about good study habits and why somebody would choose to come to Wentworth today.
right, and grades went out every 3 weeks. You know, and a parent didn't wait until semester to find out his kid was flunking. In 3 weeks he knew how he was doing, and he knew every 3 weeks after that when grades went to the parents. And
I'll tell you, when I first came here, I couldn't believe it. It was as smooth as it went. We had some people that really doing a hell of a job. They did, each one of them that did.
oh, we had, well, because I'm sure we do now, we just don't know the faculty, but Captain Maring, you couldn't find a better, math teacher in the whole world, and Colonel Stagner, and
You
Captain
can name
Eder.
them.
They were just all so good in their field. When Ted graduated from junior college here and went on to Missouri University, he didn't lose a single credit of the courses he had taken at Wentworth. Because you were getting your basics.
Well, the last year that I had them,
Mm-hmm.
and the college, the kids in college,
Mm-hmm.
and then also the little ones.
Oh, you taught mechanical drawing. That's probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a cadet who wasn't very big. He was just a little
Oh,
guy.
no,
But
we were just playing.
but Paul, from the exertion, had a stroke, and kind of symbolic that you were having a good time when it happened.
What and I don't know this. What years you came in 58?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and
To 83,
Okay.
25 years.
okay, can you say those years?
Yes, we came here in 1958, and Paul was on the faculty here for 25 years until last of September 1983, when he had this stroke that he had to retire. But we still remain close to Wentworth. It's still a big part of our lives, having all these boys that we've gotten to know and over the years to come hear from them and talk to them and have them come at homecoming. It's just a life rewarding experience.
But you and kids that I really knew close, we had a lot of them. Yeah, we did. And I don't know, you get these kids, you remember them on.
Oh, and another one we should mention is Jack Fulton. Yeah, Paul, well, from tennis and from the trumpeter. And he has a nice family and comes to visit, and brought his family, a couple of years ago when they had the big 2000 reunion.
And that,
He lives in Kansas City? sir?
No, he
Fulton.
lives in up north, Wisconsin.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, he's,
The name's familiar, I just don't
Yeah.
remember.
And Greg Foreman, who was the best tennis player Paul had, he was from up north too. You know, you think of a tennis player as someone from the south where they have
You
not
know
nice
what?
weather, but they were both from.
and this, I said, let's play today with him. I said, I want to talk to you, but, and I started with him, and I said, well, I'm not going to do any more. I said, because it's going to look how you play. I said, I don't want to do that. He was smooth, boy. But I never played him after that.
Well, we should mention too, Captain Slayton and his wife Helen. Bill Slayton, Paul really replaced Bill Slayton in coaching. But I always remember Bill worked in the summer camp here, you know, when we had summer camp. And he had archery. And he would, each time the boy walked down to get the arrows, retrieve the arrows, he would walk along beside him and visit with him, you know, and got to know them individually. It's just that special touch that Wentworth has of, you know, really getting to know the cadets. That's
Well,
so great.
I don't know when that changed. Really.
Well, honey, we don't know that it's
Well-
changed. It is.
And you've kind of touched on it. When I think back to those days when I was there and you know you all were there, if I had to describe Wentworth in one word, it would be family.
Right,
And
Yeah.
talk to me about that. I mean,
right.
because I don't think many places are like that
Right.
in the world, whether it's educational or business. And
Hey, let me tell you something. Every day we eat there. We normally didn't go to, Marge will go, gets to maybe when we were there, but we played the go basket at,
Training tables,
no, when, what,
breakfast.
yeah. Well, you always went through all them. I never did go with anyway of those, but then, but like all of the kids,
I know that that's just the modern thing to do, the way the cafeterias are run now. But I just think they are missing so much with the eating and family style and you know, table manners. You had two table heads, one at each end of the table, you know, that watched you, that you were, you know, eating, using your fork right and all of that, so that when you went out someplace to eat, you didn't embarrass yourself.
and God, I'll tell you, that was the greatest thing, one of the things they did.
Colonel Sellers used to always have the etiquette class, you know, for the faculty. We
Yeah.
always, you know, had faculty meetings, and it didn't matter whether you were new or you'd been here 25 years, you went to those etiquette classes.
yeah, can you say that whole thing again, Marge?
Yes.
That's the Colonel Sellers. what's
Right. And
I missed
in the
it.
fall, at the beginning of school, old Colonel Sellers had etiquette classes for the faculty. Taught you how to use your knife and fork and break your piece of bread and all of that. And then, of course, Mrs. Hepler had etiquette classes for every cadet. And um, that is just another important thing of the things that you learn at Wentworth that you don't learn at any other school. Uh, I remember Colonel Sellers saying that about, I've been out to fancy places and ate with really important people, and they didn't know how to use their fork right, or, and you were embarrassed for them. So it just really gave you a lot of confidence to know that you were taught the right way.
I really do.
Well, now I guess it's kind of a selfish reason for. I guess if every old boy could be sitting in this room, everyone, regardless of their names, uh, tell me what you'd say to them if you had that chance. I mean, if they were all sitting here right now. Whether I know you've said repeatedly you had great boys and great kids to work with, and
Well, they did what we were doing with them. We're also doing it for ourselves. We learned from you all, the boys that went to school. And to me, that's great, I think. What do you think?
Well, another thing, when they had salesmen that called on cadets and recruited cadets, you were like their representative here at school. There are so many cadets that Paul is like a second father image to them. A lot of them were from broken homes, and I can just remember an instance not long ago visiting with an old boy, and he was telling me how come Paul was so special to him. He said, my folks got a divorce shortly after I came here, and when Paul found out about it, he came over to the barracks that night, and he said to my roommate, could you step out of the room for a few minutes? And he said he didn't tell me. My parents had already told me, but he just said, would you like to talk about it? And he said, and I did want somebody to talk to about it, and he said that he always remembered that. Well, I can remember when we lived across from the campus, taking all of the children back into a back bedroom when a cadet of Paul's would come over that he broke up with his girlfriend, and he didn't, was just beside himself. He wanted someone to talk to. And this is just things that you don't get at a public school. It's that family atmosphere again.
Yeah, she's right. It's just you can't beat that. You can't beat it. Years. And how many did we have here?
Well, we had 25 that you were actually at the school, but we've been here since 1958, and Wentworth is just, well, at Mickey Lomax's memorial the other day, her daughter Sally said Wentworth was family to her. She was here for 30 years, and
I always went to see the kids that we had here.
the old boys.
Yeah, and some of them were still at school and all that. But I've had more dads and moms ask me, oh, they do this, they do this, They didn't, they do about this. They're just changer. It's helped them so much. And now, God, I used to get them all like that,
Yeah, they would always tell you you know, what a change they saw in their son.
Oh, yeah. It was, God, it was great. Brian did hear about that now. They got it, and I hope to God they do. Because that's something you can never give it, you know. Maybe I can't say now about this good, but it cuts me sometimes. I say, oh, I remember this boy did that. And I loved it. Really did. Still do, you know. To learn, never back. You always,
Always keep it.
yeah.
If you were going to be played by somebody in a movie, you know, they're making a movie about Paul Butherus, who would be Paul? Who would you have as an actor playing Paul Butherus?
Probably Buddy Hackett. Paul was in the service with Buddy Hackett. Overseas. Well, actually, it was when you were overseas, wasn't he?
Yeah.
An entertainer or something.
So Buddy Hackett. Say it on film so I can get it.
Can you say that?
Just say Buddy Hackett.
I can't.
I can't. Okay.
That's all right. And Marge, who'd play you?
Oh. A long time ago, there was an actress who was just Miss Priss or Perfect or whatever, and her name was Marjorie Morningstar. So whenever I try to tell my kids, you know, I didn't do that or whatever, they say, oh yes, Marjorie Morningstar. So I guess it would be her.